Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Live Your SPALife Show. SPALife is a lifestyle that accepts that accomplishment and harmony coexist. The SPA in SPALife, the SPA, stands for Seek Power Always. And you are going to love how we're going to be talking about that internal power and manifestation with my guest here. You're going to love her, Jaaz Jones. She's the president and founder of the Mad Miracles, LLC, a transformational training company based in Atlanta, Georgia. Jaaz, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Diane.
I am so thrilled that we got to connect when I was speaking in Atlanta. I mean, I just, if anyone's looking at you right now, there's always a butterfly that is on your being and is such a reflection of the transformation that you provide for other people. Tell us how the butterfly came into your life.
Well, this butterfly, this is my sacred butterfly from my husband. And when we were dating, as a matter of fact, we made a trip to San Francisco. And it was at a moment we went to a wonderful restaurant and he shared, I know I want to spend my life with you. And we saw this butterfly and he said, I want to give you your wings before I give you your ring. So it's always been my love symbol. And my logo was designed from this butterfly.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that story. And I love that freedom aspect to that. And just how the love just wraps all around that. It's so fun. And, one of the things about Mad Miracles, a lot of people who maybe aren't seeing it actually written out, you've got the M and the D in the Mad capitalized. Tell us a little bit about why you did that and how you came up with the name Mad Miracles.
Well, it's twofold. Mad Miracles stands for Mother and Daughter Miracles, manifesting a magnificent and divine transformation. So Mad itself is mother and daughter, and magnificent and divine. We have phrased our own word, which is magnificent. And my daughter is my partner. She is a curriculum developer, and she's our Chief Creative Officer, Vice President of Education, and does all of our workbooks, all of our creative development. And the name itself came about, thus the idea of transformation, in a time where we were having a mother and daughter breakdown, going through my divorce, and we were in this process of rebuilding our relationship. And the idea was just to hold this space of love, and in that space, not dictate the change, but be the change. And, there was this moment when my daughter, she was 18 actually, and she was like, oh my gosh, you destroyed my life and this is awful. And I said, change is constant, and remember that suffering is a choice. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And she didn't like that too much, but what evolved out of that was really understanding that we get to choose. And fast forward about 10 years later, my daughter was visiting me and actually had moved to Atlanta for a while. And we were riding on this trail. It's called Silver Comet Trail. And she said, Mom, I love you so much. You are my best friend. And after all of that breakdown, and I just looked up and I was like, this was what I was holding. And I said, what a mad miracle. It just came forth. So it wasn't an idea of starting a business. She was actually supporting me. I had just launched my first book, In My Mother's Voice. And she said, oh, we should do a book club and a book signing, and let's host an event. And out of that, we created the book club, Mad Miracles, which has thus evolved into Mad Miracles Transformational Training.
This is so powerful, and especially for our listeners in their relationships with their daughters. There's such a special thing with daughters, and I think that that's actually part of the metamorphosis and the transformation that happens. Is there is some pushback or conflict that happens as part of the growth for them to become independent. They're also a reflection of our energy, and some of the things that come together with that are so huge. I have two daughters myself, and particularly my older daughter, Samantha. We kind of joke that between like the ages of like 14 and 18, she was more on restriction than on non-restriction. And just this whole connection of, I knew nothing, and just this, struggle that happened with us. And I remember after she had my first grandson, Cole, and it was kind of like this things started just kind of coming into place about like, well, maybe I do know a few things, and having the conversations and coming together. And now she actually, we work together at SPALife. So we also have come together in work, and I love the path that you have. I was just kind of, smiling and nodding as you were telling the story with your daughter, because I think it's so powerful that when mothers and daughters come together and work together, and they use their experience and their energy to really, tap into not only their strengths in the world, but how they can shift. And I know that the work that you do is about coming from, a very clear intention. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about like your energy empowerment formula.
Yes, absolutely. And we call it the Transformula. And this formula, and as you mentioned, Diane, clear intention. How often in your life have you ever said, I didn't intend to? And you fill in the blank, right? There's that self-judgment. I didn't intend to go through a divorce. I didn't intend to drop out of school. I didn't intend to gain that weight. Whatever it is, there is a result. There's an event that happens in our life, and we have a judgment around that. And that's one of the places where so often we get blocked. We get blocked in that self-judgment. We get blocked in what I call shitting on ourselves. It was like, I was going to do this and this and this.
Right.
And I read the book. Wayne Dyer is one of my mentors, and so the power intention was very impactful and influencing in my life. And there's another element to that. So getting clear on the intention is so important. For me, what activated it and what we teach in our Mad Metamorphosis program is that we must have clear intention and then plus focused attention. And focused attention is what's the actions that we're taking? What's our behaviors that we're applying? So clear intention plus focused attention equals a divine retention.
Right. I love that. This is so important, Jaaz, to have that distinction, because we hear so much about, intention. And I love how you talk about the focus is the actual action part of it. And it's one thing, to, be in a space and go, I want to affirm this and I want to have a meditation around this and do all those things. But what is the follow through that happens that actually makes it happen? And so I love that distinction that you're making, with that. And with that, we talk a lot about how you want to design your life. And you and I've had discussions around this about, so many people live by default where they just kind of let things happen. And I know that you're a big, advocate of consciously creating your life. And so what are some of the ways that you design your life?
Well, thank you for asking. And so what's so interesting is that my life started out as an interior designer. And I created my first program called 4See Your Future, which is the number 4, the letter C, and your future. And that was about creating a strategy. And what I do to live by design is I evoke very specific practices. It's all about the practice.
Yes.
Before joining you this morning, I began with meditation, beginning every day with just getting centered, setting the intention. So use that Transformula to set my intention for the day. And it's that quiet time. It's that space between the external and the internal and just being wholly present. And so meditation, breath work, I often say we come into the world breathing, but we forget to connect with breath. So not just with meditation, but also connecting with breath, being very intentional about that. And
tell us a little bit more about that, about connecting with breath, because, we talk a lot about taking deep breaths and being mindful of your breath, but talk a little bit about connecting with the breath.
Absolutely. I want you to think about when you have moments of upset or despair. One of the first things that we do is we hold our breath like, so we're blocking the flow of life and energy, and connecting with breath. Breath is life. Yeah. And it is the physical act that aligns our mind, body, and spirit, and connecting with breath. It is that one thing that allows us, because if I told you just hold your breath, at some point in time, your natural body is going to expel that breath because it is thriving. It wants to live. It wants life. So our ability to connect with breath is to intentionally invoke that connection, to feel breath throughout our body, feel the inhalation of life, and then expelling all that we want to release, all the negativity, all the blocks. And I have a series of breath exercises. As a matter of fact, I have a gift for your guests that we'll talk about. That'll teach them a very specific breath. And one that I do every day is Linso Mai, and it's a breath of protection. So our ability to connect with our breath and know that our breath is our clearinghouse, and to connect with that clearinghouse so that we are inviting in all of our life and abundance, and we are releasing all that is not serving us.
Oh, that is awesome. So tell me again what that's called.
That's called Linso Mai, which stands for pure love. And it is to breathe a figure 8 around our body, which is like a golden thread that protects us. And I do that before I work with any client, before I do any training, before I go out into the world, because often, we get those dings and we set our intention that I'm going to show up today and I'm going to be powerful. And then somebody cuts us off in the lane, or somebody comes into the office and they're pouring on their negativity. And what we want to do is just protect ourselves. So we do that protection of love on a daily basis.
Right, right. I love how active that is. A lot of times we talk about, and I share with people taking, 3 deep cleansing breaths and do the deep breathing and just remembering to breathe, but to be really intentional and focused around the breath and how you can utilize that as part of protection. And, you look at energy of breath. That is our life. That is the flow. And to really invoke that in a deep way, I think is so powerful. So I love how deeply you utilize that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
Well, there's a series of breath exercises, and what I just want to invite people to, it only takes a moment. So in the morning, taking in, as you were expressing, taking in deep breath, but feeling it and closing the eye to see without the eye, to see it in the body, see where your breath is, see your breath in your heart, expelling it, seeing it come out of every facet, coming out of your ears, coming out of not just your nose, but coming out of the hands, coming out of the feet. So deeply inhaling, feel that. Feel the air filling you up. And then,
Yeah. Now, do you see your breath in color?
Yes. And so I always invite people, what color are you seeing? And that's part of that connection. Different days, there will be a different color. And I do chakra clearings as well. So we talk about the colors of the chakra. And I just allow myself to be present to what's the color that's being evoked today.
Right. I love that. That's so fun.
Yeah. And it should be. Our practice should be, I always say a practice should be simple. It should be fun, and transformatively, it should also be deep without having to go deep, but be present to the depth.
Right, right. Oh, I think that is so important. And, in just the day-to-day of life, we've been having a lot of conversations around things in life that leak your power. Right. And, what are some of the ways you can kind of shore that up? And breath work is such an important aspect of that to have happen. And, it has me go into this, I'm so busy, which is like the new, addiction that's happening here, where that's really just allowing life to happen. And, we all have 24 hours, right? It's how we are being intentional, right? And focused with that time. How is it that you kind of override that tendency of, the busy? Do you even use that word? Is it something that you just kind of, how do you address that? Because it just feels like that's almost the first response from people when you ask them how they are.
This is such a wonderful alignment synergistically. That word doesn't even exist, because it's not about being busy, about being present. And so often we use that term busy to avoid being present.
Absolutely.
That's what breath does. Breath is that one thing that evokes presence, and it will draw you instantly present. We get caught up in the busyness. You know, I mentioned earlier about shoulding on ourselves. We create the do list. So I said we have the do list, and then we should all over ourselves when we don't get it all done because we say that we're busy. But we really get more done. We are more productive in the stillness, because the stillness is about the alignment and the presence. So I go back to beginning the day with setting a clear intention, being intentional about what do I want to put my focused attention on today. So I want to give everyone a quick check-in on how to use the transformula. This is how to avoid the busyness. Beginning with, what is my intention? I do that check-in on an hourly basis throughout my day. What's my intention here today? And the follow-up is, where's my attention? Because if my attention is not aligned with my intention, I know I'm off course. You know, oh my gosh, I'm caught up in these dozens of emails. Well, is that serving my intention? And then instantly, when you evoke that question, where's my attention? You can create the shift. Let me now redirect my attention so that I'm back on track. What's my intention? Where's my attention?
Oh, I love that. I love how they flow together because, you know, your intention doesn't do any good if your attention is squirreled off in some other direction. And to just constantly do that check-in to be like, where are we at? Where are we at? You know, and just make that shift, right? It's just a simple shift and not be in the place of shitting on yourself in there going, oh no, because that's just kind of part of human nature. We can get a little off track, but having the awareness of being off track and just simply getting back is so powerful.
Right. And, you know, and I want to say about that, the beauty in that, one of the things that I use in my Mad Metamorphosis program is really about the art of distinction, getting clear about distinction. And one of the distinctions is awareness versus judgment. And what it allows us to do when we do the check-in is not be in a place of judgment, it's awareness. What's my intention? Where's my attention? There's no judgment in the question. But when we invoke the question, we say I should be, or what should I be doing right now? We instantly go into judgment. And judgment is an energy block, where awareness is an energy opener. So what is my attention? Where is my attention? Immediately puts us in a space of awareness and allowance.
Oh, that is so powerful to have these distinctions, right? Because they're little distinctions. And if we just listen to one road that takes us off, it takes us out of the game. But to know and be intentional about that and be like, oh, no, I don't need to go down that road. This is just little tweaks getting back and having happen. So I really appreciate these just little distinctions that have such big impact in what it is that you're doing and the shifts that you're allowing for people to see for themselves as well. And I'd like to kind of come back to, because I know some of our listeners they're out driving and they may have missed this part around stillness. I think stillness is something that we have to come back to because, you know, a lot of people in the mindset of busyness and action and all the to-dos feel like they don't either have time for stillness or they don't know how to powerfully use it and to actually, and I've done this myself as well, where it's like, I know I should have some quiet time and get really clear and have that happen, but I need to do this thing first. And so really hone in for us the importance of stillness and how stillness actually expands our time and really allows us to be more present. And how can we utilize stillness in an intentional way?
Absolutely. And again, it begins with breath. Breath is that it's evoking the breath, connecting with the breath is that one place that allows stillness. And by the way, you can do a 30-second moment of stillness. So I'm going to give you a 30-second invoke stillness. When you close your eyes and you take that deep breath, you allow yourself to become still. It is like, if you could imagine the distinction, you're there on the West Coast. So you see all of these waves. And if you throw a pebble into a wave, can you see where it goes? Do you see the ripple? Not at all, because the waves are so raging and it's such movement going on. And that's what happens in our brains when we aren't still. When we evoke stillness through breath, it's like that calm river, and it's still. And when you throw the pebble into the river, you can see each and every ripple. And it's like the ripples in our mind when we allow ourselves to get still. That pebble that we're throwing is our pebble of intention. So when you cast that intention into the water, it creates a ripple of your focused attention. When I get still, what's my intention?
Right. Well, that's good. I'm going to use that.
Yes.
Awesome.
All of a sudden it comes to us. We don't go to it.
Right.
That's the difference in the busyness. What stillness allows us to do is to invite into our world. The universe comes in and says, what may I provide for you here? You have sent out your intention. Be still and allow the provision to come forth. Now I know what to do when I take action. What happens, Diane, is we do it in the reverse. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
Rather than being still and saying, what need I be? It's the beingness first. And we get out of order and we get so busy because we start with the attention rather than the intention, and we make it a have to, a should. And out of that busyness, we get lost and scattered because there's no course, there's no foundation, there's no direction. So that's what busyness is. Busyness is just a sign that we are in motion, but we are not in presence.
Right.
And presence without motion is nothing more than distraction. When we are still and we allow ourselves to be, we get in motion with direction and we have alignment, and we're able to get more done out of the moment of being still than being frantically busy.
Right, right. You know, these micro distinctions are so key. It makes such a difference. I think about, like, you know, an airplane being on course. When it just gets a little bit off course, you can end up in a totally different part of the world. And this is really what we're looking at, is making these little shifts that keep us on the course of the intention of what it is that we want to do. And this is so really key about having that stillness and being present and really listening. I mean, I'm thinking now about when I do my power talk and the W and the power about the wisdom. I find so many times if I'm in too much motion, I can't get the wisdom. Like, I can be asking for all these things and all from my guides and all my angels and everyone to be like, okay, what's the next thing? What's happening? Well, if I actually am not quiet enough or present enough, I can't hear it. Right? If the wisdom is not there for me to hear if I'm in too much motion. So to practically be able to utilize that, to, you know, kind of to sit still long enough to actually receive that wisdom is so key.
Absolutely. And, you know, something else that I'd like to share about setting an intention so that we don't get stuck in the doingness. The first question that I invite you to ask is, what do I want to feel? What do I want to feel? Because that's what brings us into that place of beingness, because we have the tendency to operate out of do, have, and be. I want to do whatever it is. You know, I want to go out and we call it beingness, right? We'll say, oh, I want to be an author. I want to be a speaker. I want to be that. But that's actually based on the things that we do to be
right.
recognized as that. And we get stuck in, well, what do I need to do to be that? And then we do it so I can have an abundant life, and I can have wealth, I can have recognition, whatever that is. And then if I do that, I'll be happy. I'll be joyful. Start there. What do you want to feel? I want to feel happy. I want to feel joy. And that is what we emanate. And if we allow ourselves to be still and set the intention for what I want to feel today is present. I want to feel present in love. I want to feel present in joy.
Right.
Then what we do is aligned with that.
Right. You know, Jaaz, I think sometimes when people are in such like activity and to have that distinction about what being is, and to actually sometimes I think when we have so much happening, we actually can be out of touch of how we feel, and to be able to actually access the emotion. I've talked with some people lately, they're like, I don't even know what I want to feel. Like it's almost a numbing because of all the doingness. How would you say one of like the best ways or an easy way that people can actually get in touch again with how they feel so they can actually operate from that place?
That goes back to the breath, closing your eyes, being still. And again, one of the things that I recommend in breath is to count your breath so that you get out of your head of thinking. And just count inhalation, a count of 5 as you inhale, and then slowly exhaling to a count of 6. And just count as you're breathing in and breathing out. And in that stillness, allowing the imagination to evoke, not the visualization. Visualization is something that we go seeking. Imagination is what we allow ourselves to drop into. And what do you see? What comes up? What are the colors? What are the shapes? What do you see? And then asking yourself, how does that feel?
Right. Okay, wait a minute here. So you got to say this again. You got so many pearls that you're dropping in here. Say again this distinction between imagination and visualization. I think it's really key.
So visualization is what we evoke. We have an intention, if you will, to bring forth a vision. So if I want to visualize the home that I want to have, that is something that I go seeking, where our imagination is something that emerges from us. We drop in and it comes forth. And that's the allowing. That's not a making it happen. That's an allowing of the emergence. So we want to drop in. It's like being a kid again. So I invite everyone, go to your 5-year-old self. Like really be with your 5-year-old self. What is your 5-year-old self doing? And what is a moment that you can reflect on that evokes happiness? What evokes that feeling for you? Because really and truly, Diane, everyone on the planet, the alignment is we want to be happy, right? That's a beingness. We want to just be in that feeling of happiness, of joy. What's that feeling? What evokes that for you? And get really present with that in that stillness, because then what happens when you drop into that imagination, you'll know it when you see it, and you see it first within before you recognize it without. And rather than like chasing a butterfly, right? Rather than chasing the butterfly in the busyness and the doingness, if you allow yourself to be still, the butterfly will come and land on you and be with you. And that's what the stillness does, is it brings it forth to us. And it only takes a moment. Start with 30 seconds. I want to invite everyone who's listening, set your alarm 5 minutes earlier, just 5 minutes. And in the most powerful time of our day is the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes.
Right.
Those first 5 minutes to be still, close your eyes and be in that place and allow yourself to just drop into that stillness, and whatever comes up, let it be present, and then ask yourself, how does that feel? And if you want to raise the vibration, say, I want to reach for a better feeling thought. Esther Hicks uses that term, reaching for a better feeling thought.
Right.
Because so often we get stuck in our head about the thought. So if a thought comes up, don't try to force it, be with it, but ask yourself, how does that feel? And then reach for a better feeling thought and allow that feeling to set your tone for your day and your intention.
Right.
And then you do your check-in. My intention today is to be joy-filled. My intention today is to be happy. Now, what need I do? What's the focused attention? So 5 minutes in the morning, and then write it down. Write that down. What's my intention today? What's my focused attention? And I wrap it up with a gratitude statement, what I'm grateful for, and an I am statement, the two most powerful words. I am that becomes our barometer for how we show up in the world. It's the most powerful statement we can make. Take 5 minutes to do that, and you'll begin to see out of the stillness the production that comes from the beingness, where we become productive rather than busy.
Right. Ah, so juicy. So many wonderful things to share here. I love it. And, I love the intention of it all, right? Of really being specific and honing in on that. And one of the things I love to ask my guests is about, the intention of your space, because we have a different experience, whether we're in our bedroom or our kitchen or family room. What is your favorite room in your home and why?
Well, my room has a name, and the name of my room is Zen Mariposa, which Mariposa is butterfly in Spanish, and it is my Zen, so it's my energy room, and some people call it a sun room, but mine is a Zen Mariposa. I have butterflies around the room. I have a waterfall in there, so I intentionally set the space to evoke all the senses. I light my candles. I make sure that my water is running so it evokes the sound of the water. The light in there is really beautiful, and I go there for my stillness and my presence.
Oh, I love that so much. I mean, talk about being in alignment with really being able to evoke the feelings that you want to have in your experience. So it's so beautiful to be able to have that. And, I know that you and I could be talking all afternoon here, and I know you have like a gift for our listeners and a way for them to stay in contact with you.
Absolutely. I want to invite everyone, go to our website at madmiracles.com, and you'll see there's a gift there waiting for you. Just leave your email with your name, and the gift is MAD Transformational Guidebook. And in this case, MAD stands for meditations, affirmations, and devotions. And those meditation, affirmation, and devotions are around our Love the You in the Mirror pledge. And Love the You in the Mirror is it's the second phase of the MAD Metamorphosis, which is imagine a girl who loved the you in the mirror. And then Foresee Your Future and Me Unleashed are the 4 phases. And with this booklet, you'll be able to use it for your meditation. So if you've never done meditation, there's some meditation guidelines and the Linsomai breathwork exercises in there where I guide you through doing that breathwork. So go to madmiracles.com and you can download that. You can reach me at madinfo@madmiracles.com. So please drop me a note and be sure and explore our website for upcoming programs. The MAD Metamorphosis is a coaching program, so that is available where I actually guide people through how to be intentional, how to use this transformula to transform your life.
I love this so much. And we will have these links in the show notes so that people can grab those easily. And I just want to thank you, Jaaz, for just sharing your wisdom and just being a perfect example of your work. And I don't mean perfect as in you get it perfect all the time. I'm just saying how you go through the flow of it and the transformations that you've made in your life. It's something that people can really relate to. And I know it's something that our listeners are going to want to hear this over and over again. So thank you so much for your contribution.
Well, it has been my pleasure. And the last thing I want to make sure that I do, because this is Monday. By the way, it's my daughter's birthday. October 1st. Happy birthday to my daughter. And this evening, every Monday evening on Facebook Live, on our Mad Miracles, it's facebook.com/Mad Miracles fan page, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, we do Miracle Minded Mondays, where I give tips on how to utilize the Transformula to enhance your life. So come hang out with us on Miracle Minded Mondays.
Oh, how fun. Thank you for that invitation. That's so great. Well, I love this so much. And listeners, you may be wondering, this kind of conversation that we're having about really living a more mindful life and seeing what's working and not working in your life. And, I also have a free gift for you where you can go to liferesetquiz.com. Again, that's liferesetquiz.com. It'll also be in the show notes where you can see where are you succeeding in your life and where do you maybe need to have some more support. We would love for you to go to, whether you see this on Facebook or YouTube or any of the avenues, to put in the comments and to make sure that you tag both Jaaz and I about what what takeaways did you have from this? What questions do you have? How is it that we can support you? We really want to build community, and one of the ways you can do that is to subscribe to our shows and to really connect in, because we are really stronger when we are together. So I just want to thank you for your most precious resource, which is your time and being here with us. And until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now.